We've all experienced the moment a relationship shifts, the friend who only calls when they need a favor, or the partner whose affection withdraws once they no longer benefit from your presence. The thread of the relationship frays until the connection snaps. Our conscious mind reacts to this pain with a specific narrative, that the other person suddenly changed, or that they have committed a calculated betrayal. Carl Jung offered a different perspective. The person in front of you stayed exactly the same, but you stopped applying emotional editing to their behavior. This happens because the human mind is terrified of uncertainty. It craves consistency between what it hopes for and what it actually sees, often forcing us to ignore evidence of selfishness or cowardice to keep our internal world stable. Relational suffering typically stems from the collapse of the fantasy we constructed around a person, rather than the toxic nature of the person themselves. When the red flags first appear, most of us begin negotiating with reality. We invent excuses, stress, or simple misunderstandings, or our own overthinking to avoid confronting the uncomfortable truth of a pattern. Accepting the truth requires an ego death. You have to admit you were deeply attached to an illusion, a realization that carries a sharper sting than the disappointment itself. This state of boundless optimism and patience has a hidden cost. Kindness without boundaries quietly teaches the people around you exactly how to use you. Human beings instinctively respect what they cannot easily control. They notice who avoids conflict, who fears abandonment, and who keeps forgiving long after trust has been broken. Unconditional empathy often invites dependency or silent contempt rather than inspiring goodness in others. Eventually, life corners the idealist. Behavioral patterns repeat with more force than any promise, forcing you to see people without emotional editing. Jung defined the shadow as hidden flaws like envy, neediness, and cowardice. People deploy these defense mechanisms to protect their fragile ego. A friend might betray you out of envy, or a partner withdraws affection, fearing intimacy more than loneliness. Most people prioritize their own identity and psychological comfort over the objective truth of the harm they cause others. Social dynamics often rely on a narrow type of affection. People love the version of you that keeps them comfortable, never forcing them to confront their own stagnation. Relationships are unconscious agreements. I will remain this version of myself if you remain yours. When you evolve, you silently break the contract. This newfound independence is interpreted as a personal attack on the social balance. The mind invents explanations only after discomfort sets in. Certain people pull away after you heal because awareness makes you significantly harder to manipulate. After the initial shock of disappointment, a strange internal silence arrives. You stop chasing explanations for why someone became who they are. This silence is difficult because the mind thrives on narrative. Giving up the search for reasons means admitting the illusion can no longer be repaired. With the fantasy gone, your memories reorganize. You begin to see the subtle competition hidden in jokes, the transactional nature of their attention, and the moments they disappeared the second you stopped being useful. This isn't cynicism, which assumes everyone is bad. It is pattern recognition, the awareness that human beings are divided and often perform emotions they do not actually feel. Disappointment destroys the illusion to reveal the relationship that was already there. Jung believed this threshold marks the beginning of individuation, the process of separating unmet emotional needs from the objective reality of the people around you. Real maturity involves a refusal to participate in shallow social illusions. You stop trying to heal people who are committed to misunderstanding themselves. This clarity removes hatred, which still requires emotional attachment and expectation. Awareness is much quieter. You simply stop arguing with reality. Eventually, the fear of losing people is replaced by a fear of losing the self-respect required to keep them. Every disappointment removes another layer of projection, teaching you that the loss of your own self-respect is far more dangerous than the loss of any relationship.